Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Dexter Sharper Center. I am not J.D. Rice. J.D. phoned me at 4:30 and said his wife's car is in the shop, so he's tied up getting her taken care of. I'm Dennis Marks. I'm the Vice Chair for Elections for Lowndes County Democratic Party. If you would, please, let's stand for a moment of silence in memory of all of the victims of gun violence. And remain standing if you would for the pledge of allegiance. We don't have a flag, but there is a flag on our banner. So, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. On the table, you have the minutes of the previous meeting.
One note, I noticed one thing. It said at the top the date was April 4th, and it was April 2nd.
Second. Any other corrections to the minutes? Let me thank Member Dean, our Assistant Secretary, for taking the minutes in Gretchen's absence. If there are no further corrections to the minutes, all in favor of the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Connection report. Treasurer Jim Parker.
Okay. So, we began the month of April with $374.81, and we ended the month with $291.04. Now, we caught up on the back rent. However, we did not pay for April or May yet, so we're still at consistent. But to let you know, we did catch up at the beginning of April. We made it. So thank everybody for your contributions, and keep it going. And as always, I pass that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We've got a number of elected officials with us tonight, and candidates for office. So let me start at the state level. Our state representative, 175th, Dexter Sharper.
77.
Our next state representative for the 175th, Peter Year. County Commissioner DeMarcus Marshall. City Councilwoman Sandra Tully. I think that's all elected officials we have, but let me take this opportunity to thank each and every elected official for the service that you provide. Very, very much appreciated. Officers' reports. I'll switch hats and report as Vice Chair of Elections on the elections. Early voting has already started. Started Monday, April the 30th. I voted today. Let me urge you, please go vote. The statewide early voting as of the end of last week was that twice as many Republicans had voted as Democrats. So we've got some work cut out for us. So please go vote. I will not say vote early and often, but at least vote at least once. Let me talk a little bit about the elections. There are actually 3 different elections that are going on at the same time. Okay, and on the table, I put out a sheet of election information. The 3 elections that we've got going on at this point is the general primary, and that is for Democratic and Republican candidates. You go in and when you fill out your form, you check on there whether you want a Democratic or Republican or nonpartisan ballot. My mother taught me that if I picked a Republican ballot, my hand would wither, so I don't do that. But if you pick up a Democratic ballot, and we've got some sample ballots on the back table at the green form, and you can go to the elections office and take a look at these beforehand. You'll see starts at governor. We've got candidates for all of the constitutional positions, so please become knowledgeable about the candidates on this list of information. The second section explains how to go on the Secretary of State's site and find all of the candidates who qualified. The last part of that is a link to politics1.com for Georgia. That will give you a list of all of the candidates who are running and links to their websites. So it's all in one place. You can go there, except for the Public Service Commission. They're not on that page. Go there, look at each of the websites of the candidates, become familiar with the candidates, and choose who you want to represent the Democratic Party in the general election in November. This is very, very important. This is what determines how the Democratic Party will proceed into the future. So please research these candidates very, very carefully. As a party official, I cannot endorse candidates in the primary when you have a Democrat running against a Democrat. So you're gonna have to research this on your own. Okay? You've got to find out about these candidates. Ask folks who know the candidates, but please take a look very carefully at this. Be a knowledgeable voter. Go in there knowing who you want to vote for. This ballot at the Board of Elections office includes all of the candidates who are running in Lowndes County. In your particular precinct, you're not going to see all of the candidates in Lowndes County. If you live in the city, you're not going to see the candidates for this county school board election. You can get your particular ballot by going to My Voter page, and that's also listed on this elections information sheet. Go to My Voter page, put in your name and Lowndes County and date of birth, submit that, and then click on the sample ballots. And you give it a choice of Democratic, Republican, or nonpartisan. Download the sample ballot for your precinct so that you can go over your sample ballot and you can go in and vote as a knowledgeable voter. Thank you. Okay. So primary is on the ballot. The school board election for those living in the county, districts 1, 2, and 3 is on the election. Excuse me. Let me grab one of those waters. Okay, so general primary is Democrats and Republicans. The nonpartisan election is for county school board districts 1, 2, and 3. And then simultaneously, the third election is a special election. And then for a total of 14 counties, I think it is, all together, voting on the transportation special purpose local option sales tax, the T-SPLOST. Okay? And one of the things that we should do in discussion further on this evening is decide whether we want to take a position as as the Lowndes County Democratic Party in favor of or against T-Splosh. So let's hold the discussion on T-Splosh for later in the program. And if you live in Hayheimer, you also get to vote on Sunday package sales, with liquor sales. Okay? So three elections going on simultaneously. Please download your ballot. They'll all be on the same ballot. It's a lengthy ballot, runs 2 pages. But be an informed voter, find out who you want to vote for, and please, please vote. Membership, I don't see Miss Vivian qualifying. James, you want to talk?
Sure. Dennis eloquently covered the upcoming election and the candidates, so my brief report is to encourage you to vote in the upcoming primary. But thank you.
Okay, we've got some candidates with us tonight for the election. So, Dr. Gier, you want to give us a few words?
Yes, I'll just give you just really an update. If I can stand for you. Well, pretty much, I was happy to see everybody at the Meet the Candidate event that we had that was sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. It was so great to see all of you there, those of you who were able to show up. But I just want to just remind you, I've spoken to several of you before. You've heard what that I'm running, and I'm running for the people, because when we build people, we build business in a better Georgia. Because it's really about, my campaign and my stance is really about building, reinvesting into human capital. Pouring back into our people so that we can benefit business and we can benefit as a state as a whole. Where I am right now, I'm just going to give you an update on what I'm doing, because probably haven't seen any signs, but I don't have an opponent for the primaries. So what I'm doing right now is working on strategizing. You know, Brooks County is the heart of District 175. We have a portion of Lowndes, the west side of Lowndes, and then the east side of Thomas County. So really just finding influencers and supporters in those areas who will actually do the canvassing and help get the word out to people they know in those areas, because we know that was where I was at a disadvantage in the special, is because we had 1 month. So right now at this time, that's what I'm working on building. So that's pretty much my update in building out my materials and literature and things like that. So of course, affordable and quality health care are big. Real pay for a work day, looking at public transit, because how can we get to quality health care? How can we get to quality jobs? And of course, attracting jobs in, training our workers so we can attract those jobs, because how can we bring in business if we hadn't trained our workers, and how can our workers get to quality educational locations so they can be trained if they don't have transportation to get there? So it's a full circle gamut, everything is connected, and that's what I'm running on. So does anybody have any questions for me that I hadn't already answered in previous times that I was up here? All right, if you have any questions, go to treebegear.com. My website has just been rebuilt. So if you go there, there's some quality information there if it's something that you already don't know. Thank you for your time. Yes, the big thing right now is really fundraising. That's something big that's going on, and then making those connections with different people in the communities, so that when this primary is over and when June hits, we got June to October to really push hard.
Okay, Dexter is again on the ballot, but he is fortunate in having no opposition, and I believe Democratic. So we really appreciate what Dexter is doing for us in the legislature, and we want to give him the opportunity to tell us what's been happening under the old dome.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody for being here, and I'm glad we came up with the opportunity to be here at the Dexter Sharper Center. We have a lot of people here tonight, so that's real good. I was wondering if I was going to find this in the back room and use it. So I'll just say there's the building. I know you set up like you needed to. But you know, I really appreciate the elected officials that we do have here, and also I appreciate all of you being here and everything that you do and the support that you continue to give me And really, you know, it's about serving your community. Even if you're not elected, you still have the opportunity to serve in some capacity. And one thing that I've been working on over the last year is more economic development for the area, and also working with a lot of the entrepreneurs behind the scenes. Because if we can get more entrepreneurs and help them get started, then we can create more jobs right there within itself. For example, this particular plaza that we have here, and I'm doing all the negotiations for the ownership of this entire plaza, but we actually try to do an even more minority ownership of businesses. And then, you know, a lot of times we have a lot of communities that don't have a lot of African Americans with businesses. And so therefore, if they don't have businesses, then a lot of times people hire their kind. You know, you're gonna hear about me, I'll tell you how it is. So if we can't get in a position to have more African American owned businesses, then we can see more African Americans getting hired, okay? And some of y'all say, well, you don't understand how it works, but it's reality. And so even with this plaza, I don't care who comes to have a business here, but this whole plaza is probably going to end up being all minority owned. We have Hispanic, minority business inside of it. And we have a Hispanic church in front, and they're doing great. And then we have other African American business owners that I'm actually incubating to help them to get their businesses, to make them grow, and to help them expand in some way. But I do that for all nationalities. So if you guys are in a position to say, you know, Dexter, I have this great idea, and I really want to go in business, I'm open for you to go over maybe a business plan. We have other business owners in here that can probably lend a hand to help you get started with your business, or get your plan started first, and then branch out, okay? So that's another thing that we can do for each other. Whatever gifts you have in the organization, Democratic Party here, I think we need to, I don't know if we have this already, but we need to come up with a list. And what we need to do is have down either your profession, or what you do, as well as if you have a business. Because we want to support, if we're talking about getting more money in the Democratic Party, I think that if some of the people in the party had more funds, they would be able to donate more when we pass the plate around, or when we just doing things. So I think we should support our own in here as well. So if you have a business, let us know what you do, and so we can spread the word for you, and that can increase personal income for you as well as income for the Democratic Party. And now that I'm back, I want to get more involved and see things that we can do to have ongoing fundraising year-round. I mean, everybody do a lot of fundraising. Some of the things that we can do to try to help get funds so that we can, you know, help our candidates a little bit more when there is an election time, especially for the general elections. But I'm going to be very brief here. Let's see. And also, if you guys need the Dexter Sharp Center in the future for other things, you know, let me know. Sometime I'm able to donate, and sometime I'm able to give you a discount. Okay, if you're a Democratic Party member, let me know, and we'll give you a discount on whatever event you need to have with anything that I own. Okay. Looking at legislative updates, and what I will do, I'm going to be brief here, but if you want some of the information, or if you want some of the legislative updates that think certain bills that came forth that's going to go into law soon, or things that we opposed as a Democratic Party, or things that we supported along with the Republicans for the betterment of the entire state, I want to be able to email you guys that report so you can know what's going on. Unless, I can take, y'all want to take about 6 hours right now to go over this? I'm going to give you a little brief right now. Truly, you want me to do 6 hours? Not today? Okay. All right. Well, I have here, we continue to look into the Medicaid expansion. They don't get it. The Republicans really don't get it. We're trying to do so many tax credits and getting money from here and getting money from there to avoid Medicaid expansion. Okay, and we got hospitals that are continually closing. That's affecting everybody. Okay, if we go ahead, those 500 to 600,000 people that are eligible for Medicaid, if we go ahead and say, okay, we're going to cover those people, we would have a serious influx of money to work with to keep the hospitals open. Because when you, in certain cities, if you close the hospital, guess what? The other is a trickle-down effect. That some of the restaurants are going to be closing, some of everything is going to be closing, but they still don't get it yet. And so we're continuing to fight with that. House Bill 673, the one about the distracted driving. I don't know if you guys heard about that they're gonna really be taking that serious, okay? And we see a lot of accidents here in Georgia. Just people doing this.
Yes.
That quick. Now I want y'all to raise your hands. I really want y'all to search yourself on this. How many of us get that phone, we're driving, and we doing like this, and I see it all the time, and I'm on the interstate. And I'll peek over and I'm like, they are driving like this. So, explain that to your young kids or your grandkids and let them know that that law is going to be in effect in July. And if they get you, they're going to get you.
Well, like I'm from Michigan, and this is prom season. What the police department do, the worst accident, they put all of those cars on the beginning of the interstate and let people see it. Because the parents don't seem to understand. They just buy the kids everything that they want, but they put the worst cars, they don't even fix them up, they just put it up there, and then it just be there as a sign, all over the place. They have like 15, 20 cars. Because in Michigan, when a child's gonna graduate, 16 years old, they want a truck. They're not looking for no little Volkswagen. They want the Ram 2500, what is it, 250, they want all of that, and fully loaded.
That's
And they know about it, because everybody there work for the plant.
That's right. So
See, so they put the worst cars, the worst accident cars are right there. Because this way, seeing is believing, because you keep talking to them like talking to a stone wall, but when you see it, you can see what the deal is. And then you put the sign that no survivors, like the car was wrecked, total, no survivors. That's it.
Right.
Then they understand English.
that's right. And so anything we can do to encourage people to understand this is a real situation where a lot of those head-on collisions are because of that. Because a lot of times when you're looking down at your phone, you swerve and don't even know it. And so y'all keep that in mind, that law is going to be in place. We also did a lot of work on broadband to the rural areas, which is a plus, okay? I think UVerse is not everywhere, even in, Lowndes County, Valdosta. I don't have it, you know what I mean? And that could actually help me save money, but broadband and in general will help a lot of the rural areas. Marcy's Law, and you guys can look this up, but your victims of a lot of domestic violence and all kind of rape and things like that, a lot of times they've not had a lot of rights. You know what I mean? They now, what's being proposed is going to be, I think, the November ballot, but the victims will know when this person, after the arrest, official arrest, when they're incarcerated, and if there's a release date, that victim will know about that. Because a lot of you may have been involved with those type of activities as a victim or know someone, and next thing you know, something happened 10 years before, and next thing you know, you see the person that did something to you in Walmart. And you're like, oh my goodness. Or have this person been staking out because I got charges pressed against them? They could have been stalking my home. Nobody told me that they were out. And that has happened a lot of times where, oh, he was in jail, now you're at that person's house. Or some people have been killed because they still held that in, that you pressed charges to me, I got out, you don't even know that I'm out, and now you killed somebody, they killed you. So that was a big win. Another thing that we were kind of against is some of the immigration stuff. Of course, yes, we want to watch our borders and things like that, that's true. But at the same time, that also goes all the way down to almost a local area. And that can become a little racial profiling, especially when on the Hispanic side of things, they may just say, well, you can't get to the point where you say, is that person legal or illegal, just because you see them. So therefore, we were fighting against a lot of the immigration profiling that could take place, okay? So we need to keep that in mind, things that we need to still fight against. Also fighting against they had a bill where it was talking about when you get the fingerprints, any job that requires fingerprinting, it can go to the FBI, okay? And that's something that you really don't want to that level, because there again, people are getting punished, or people got away using the box. But even if you get away from the box, but when you do a background check and you get that information, now you confront them all over again. so the FBI can put out whatever they want and find you and do what they need to do. But there's little things in the bill that you can go to yourself and look at. See, some bill sounds good. And man, we need support. Then at the very end, says we're going to take your home. Okay, I'm just giving an example. No, a bill don't say that. But you never know. You better watch for it. But at the very end, it has something that can tear you up. And Treva, just keep that in mind once you're elected, all right? And when they get to that very end, and everybody in here get mad because Treva voted against something that you thought was great, but that very end, she knew it would be detrimental for you. All right? So that, and then computer access, all the breaches that we've had in all these different companies to get your personal information. Okay? We're fighting against things that give anybody that access to your information. Even if somebody as big as Facebook, can you imagine? And Yahoo and all these people, they get computer access to too many people. So therefore, we're trying to block that and keep it safer. And then they had the voting rights thing that we fought against, where they're going to get you to pick one or the other, as far as Saturday, Sunday, for weekends. And so we tried to do what we can to say, okay, no, we need to keep it where you can have Saturday and Sunday, and you can probably explain more about that. And what else? I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. Another great thing that happened that we consider a victory is adoption bills. We had an adoption bill that fought over last session, and the Senate held it up even at the last day of Sonny Die of the last session, not the one we just passed, the one before. And it was a hijack, and it didn't go anywhere. But the great thing happened this time is the adoption, it made it more transparent, it made it more efficient. And I don't know if some of you guys ever been in a part of any adoption, one side or the other, but it's so drawn out, and it's not efficient, it wasn't efficient, and just people didn't know what was going on, and they could do so many different things that wasn't favorable to get the adoption process going. And y'all might say, well, what about that? Okay, you have so many people that would like to adopt, but the process is so long and so expensive. You know, it needs to be a little bit easier when you got people that really want to take care of a child. And someone told me not too long ago that the foster care, the amount of foster care kids in Georgia, I mean, it went from like 13,000 over a few months to almost 15 to 17,000.
It's almost doubled in 4 years.
It's almost doubled in 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a lot going on, and we have a lot of great people that want to take care of foster kids, but one thing they want to try to do is to get it where they can get them fast track, but still going through the proper channels to homes. Okay, I have a friend, Pastor Jay Watkins, he's doing Camp Rock, and he's doing a great job. They're going to be expanding to 70 acres to where they can have several kids there to take care of them, but his main goal is to take care of these kids, teach them different skills they need, and then get them, the older kids, in school and employed or going to even higher schools, but also have a channel to where they can go there and find them a home, a family. A lot of people they don't want to live in, foster care even their whole life. And then when you have foster care and these kids aren't able to get adopted, then you have grandparents that have to raise these kids. Okay? And the opiate, what we call it, the opiate problem that we have, epidemic.
Crisis.
Yeah, there you go, crisis. Who said crisis? Good, because it is a crisis right now. It's bad in Georgia. It's terrible in Georgia. So you have several grandparents that are trying to take care of these kids. I mean, can you imagine if you're in here about 65 or 75 and you got a 4-year-old that you got to take care of? Can you imagine that? Guess what? There's a lot of them. Then, not only that, you guys just got to get a 9-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and you're 70 years old.
And just unfortunately, on the other end of that, the federal laws about adoption have just changed, so that it's going to seem like they're not going to be able to even give grandparents or families the money they used to give them as if they were foster parents. But they're also saying we want more families of the origin to take these children. So there you've got a double bind. There might be family who want to take them who can't afford them, So, because we're very short of foster parents, have always been short of foster parents. And to say you cannot give some money to a 60 or 70-year-old grandparent to take care of a child, children are not cheap. You
Tell me
know,
about it.
that's gonna be, they'll probably take them, but, you know, there's not gonna be a good quality of life there. And between the federal law coming down and the state of Georgia not hiring people who are just heavily qualified to deal with this, you have kids in the middle who are gonna spend their whole lives in foster care.
Right, and I think they just got some extra money and had about 26 positions for people in different regions to help to take care of that, make it a little better, foster it pretty good, but it's still not enough. And I went around the state, about 6 different cities, and we had hearings about that. And the biggest thing we heard from a lot of the grandparents that, you know, we're not getting enough, even though we're not foster parents. We still got to do everything the foster parents does plus more than what we've had to do. And then when you have a limited paycheck, a fixed income, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But if you want more information on the information that I was speaking about and the information that I wasn't speaking about, in order to save time, I can give you. I'll email it to whoever can handle it, and you can get it out to everybody. Just send it to them anyway, and if they can use it, good. If not, that's fine. Any quick questions for me on something I may know about?
Send it to Gretchen, she'll get it out.
Okay.
No, send it to lounsdems@gmail.com. That's
Okay,
the
I'll
that's
let
the
you write it
part.
on my paper, and I'll send it. And I really appreciate you guys and everything that you do. But we can act on some of the stuff that I talked about, so we can make it. And like I say, you're welcome, to this building, every month to have these meetings as long as you need to.
Great, thank you.
I know there was a lot of talk about how we do elections. Machines and whatnot.
Right. Okay.
Coming down toward the end of the session.
Right.
The House bill that got passed, I guess got stalled in the Senate.
Probably
from
so.
what I
Yeah.
understand.
Okay.
But did they make, the talk I heard was that they were gonna set up a commission? And my question is, do you know anything about that and whether or not that will all change by November? The way we do our ballots will change by November.
Well, this is what I can say. If we didn't get it, through the Senate, or if it stalls somewhere, nothing's gonna happen with it because we can't. We're done, and they're not gonna call a special session to do it. But I will check personally for you and see if there was a study commission to actually study that and see if it benefits the other side. It won't happen. Plus, no, I'm not kidding. But we'll see what happens with it. But I'll see if there's a study commission that's going to look into it. Okay, I will do that. Thank y'all again.
Again, Dexter, thank you very much for your
Yes, sir.
service. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate your responsiveness to concerns from constituents.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated. When we touched on membership earlier, I should have mentioned there are membership forms on the table. If you've not paid your 2018 dues, please fill out a membership form. You can get a check or cash to Jim Parker, treasurer. And also note on that form, there are ample opportunities to make an additional donation at whatever level you're comfortable at. Okay, let me turn now to T-Splost. It's one of the things on the ballot coming up. If we're going to have an influence on that vote, we should make a decision at this meeting whether we wish to endorse or not T-Splost as a proposition recommendation to citizens. So let me open the floor for a discussion about T-Splost. Either in favor or against. Marcus?
To be honest with y'all, that's pretty much the primary reason I came tonight. I got a real busy schedule and I really need to be going somewhere right now. But I brought a bunch of signs if you support it or if you don't. But I did go to Savannah last weekend, as I told some of y'all like 3 weeks prior, specifically to find out more information about T-Splosh itself. This was not a 1-hour class or 2-hour class. This was a whole day seminar on transportation funding options and strategies. And they went over T-Splash, they went over the transportation infrastructure issues that we got statewide and all the options that are out there. A couple things I already knew, there are a couple things I did not know. One of those things I'd like to share with you all is that in the event T-Splash does pass, generally it's collected for 10 years, so of course to the law and everything. But if our economy bounce back like a lot of people are projecting and hoping, basically, once the funds are collected that they have been budgeted for in the transportation projects, if it be in 6 years, then the funding can stop, the collection of the funds can stop. So it don't necessarily have to go 10 years. So if you got people that are against it for that reason, because they're saying, hey, we don't need a 10-year tax, well, if the economy bounce back as good as they're talking about it's going to do, and the funds are collected in 7 years or 8 years, that's when the collection of it stops, okay? Other parts of it. At the end of the T-Splash, any money that's left over and get distributed to the counties. It goes straight back to the counties, and that's it, okay? They have established rules in place where public transportation can be funded through T-Splash. So that is definitely a true statement that the city of Valdosta can do, but it doesn't just stop there. There are options in House Bill 930 that allows for 2 counties to come together to establish a transit tax, okay, a T-Splash between 2 counties. Say like, in a perfect world, Lowndes County and Cook County say we want to do a T-Splash, a transit. We can come together and fund it on the ballot. But it has to be like up to 30 years, but let's face it, that's probably not going to happen, right? But long story short, there are federal resources available. J.D. Rice was right. That $1 million, it's not quite $1 million, but there is a stipend from the federal government that they offer to municipalities that do have a transit system in place. Okay, so that is available if we do get a transit system available. Those are just some of the general things that I wanted solid facts on. The good thing about T-Splash that I really love, and I think you all should really think about, is the 10% match. Unlike in the past with the other T-Splash and what have you, it's a 30% match. Right now, currently we have a 30% match now with our LMIG funding. Well, if T-Splash passes in our region, then we only have to do a 10% match. Now, just think how big this is, right? $1 million project, and you only have to match it with $100,000. I mean, where could you get a deal like that? Okay, on average, it takes about $1 million a mile of road to pave and curb and gutter and everything else. So, picture us being able to get several, I mean, really a lot of them. And this is outside of the list that we already currently have. So I want to open the floor. If anybody got any questions about what I was told, what I experienced over in Savannah, and I want to give it to you straight raw as I know it. 1, 2, 3, go ahead.
I'm a little bit confused about what we're talking about. Are you talking about a public transportation system, or are you talking about fixing roads?
It's a combination of the two. You have those options.
Now,
basically, each municipality has an option of what they want to do with their transportation funding. You can use it for transit if you want to. The upstart of buying all your buses and all of that material, if you want to. Now, in Lowndes County, the unincorporated portion of county commission, shall I say, we have not decided to go with a transit system or support a transit system. Now, it's my understanding that the city of Valdosta are in talks of entertaining that. That'd be something for, say, Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Valdosta to address. But as far as in the county commission, we've went in the direction of repairing and widening and getting the right infrastructure for all this growth that is taking place in the county.
How much state budget is there for road improvements on county roads and things?
I believe the estimate is right at $1 billion because of the gas tax that they approved.
Mm-hmm.
And they're divvying it down to the actual counties, okay? But once again, it comes through LMIG and through other little small grants that the state has developed, right? But if we want our portion, if we want to get an even greater portion, say match the 10% match portion, that's the incentive to pass T-Splash.
The T-Spot, the 1% sales tax
Yes.
would apply in the county and the city. It's confusing to me as to how things are.
It's a sales tax, meaning like anybody that buys
So it'll be
chips.
sales tax that applies
Yes.
in the county or the city.
That's right, anywhere in the region that passes the T-Splash. And so the deal is like when people buy snacks, you know, everybody pays it. Tourists, people that are coming through, they all contribute to it. Now the other side of T-Splash, to be honest with you, that I really see is two very important parts of that I see that can be beneficial here in Lowndes County. One is my opinion that if we pass T-Splash, you will not have to worry about seeing your property taxes go up in the next 10 years for sure. Because we have beyond access funding to achieve what we need to do. Needs, not wants, actual needs. That will offset a lot of the spending that we have to dedicate from our general fund in order to, you know, take care of these emergencies that take place all of a sudden. So if it's any consolation, I can tell you out my mouth, you know, that you won't have to worry about no one talking about property tax increases to get what we need, because that's the other option. If we get to the point that we don't have the funds to take care of the roads that we actually need, well, the funds got to come from somewhere. And the truth being told, what we were being preached was we got to redefine our priorities, because the true priorities of the Board of Commissioners was roads and bridges. It was not libraries, it was not the animal stuff. I'm just being honest with you. It was a big pyramid that was drawn out on the true priorities and role of government and role of the Board of Commissioners. And we start looking at that true framework, well, we'll start dedicating more % of our general funds to roads and bridges
In the county.
in the county.
The city still will have to,
And
the city will still have to be that input, giving it to you.
now, and to be honest with you now, if you were to go to Georgia statute, at the end of the day, it really comes down to the county responsibility to maintain a county road system. That's Georgia code. If the cities fold, the county's got to be able to take over. That's why the city you got the fed, state, county, and then you got city. In the event that a city folds, a county is expected to take over everything. That's just the code.
Right, because the city does pay into the county, even though the county don't pay back.
That's correct.
So if the city was not able, then the county would then take over.
Yeah, and in theory now, to be honest with you, if, hypothetically, if they were to say, well, we want to have any tax passed in Lowndes County, well, the only ones that can do it is the county commissioners that can put it on the ballot. You see what I'm saying? So just something to think about. The other side of this thing, last, if I don't want to spend too much time, is my true opinion that it is about the future. It is about the future of Lowndes County. It's about the future of our kids. I told you all when I got ready to run for office, I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing it for my kids, your kids. At the end of the day, when your kids or my kids leave here to go to school, are they coming back here or not? Are they going to have the resources here or not? Do we want them to be riding on these roads that are falling apart? Ask the quick question, where are you all going to be in 10 years from now? What is Lowndes County going to be like in 10 years? Some may be here, some may not be alive. Let's be honest. We're talking about 10 years from now. So that's the big picture. At the end of the day, some of the opponents, those that oppose it, you know, I don't get it. Why? Because some of them are in a position that they're not going to have to even deal with our roads. They're already through that gap. And no disrespect, just put it out there. I'm thinking about those that are in middle school right now, those that are in high school. In the next 10 years, what roads are they going to be riding in? What area are they going to be living in? And if I have to be honest with you and look at what we got out there and look at our budget, we don't have the funding to do what we need to do. And the only way we can do it is by raising property taxes. We don't want to do that. This is the fairest and best option. Just put it out there.
Let's hear from some of the other members.
So we were told nearly 20 years ago that going for the metropolitan statistical area would get us transportation. And there'd be money coming down. Because we would have that, we had to forego other kinds of things that we could have applied for because we were going to have automagic money coming from the federal government. Whatever happened, and every year we've had a new plan, We had a lovely little temporary bus system. People loved it. People said they'd be willing to pay for it. That was a temporary set of state money that was not connected to the city and county. What happened to the Metropolitan Statistical Area Plan? So now we've got the MSA, we put those counties together. Where's the transportation?
It comes down to the voters in many instances. to be
They
honest with
voted
you.
on the MSA though on that basis.
But what I'm getting at, when it comes to public transportation, you vote for your leaders that are gonna put that ball in motion. It always comes down to the actual individual voters. If you're voting for someone and they're not following what they told you they were gonna do, you know,
I didn't vote for the guy that's there.
just being honest with you.
Well, you know, that's fine, and I hate to disagree with you on anything. But the fact is, it says special local option sales tax. And according to information in the newspaper, and we only keep 37% of the local tax revenue that's produced, and the rest goes to the state. I would also like to give credit to the county and its planning options, because it's one thing to put the responsibility on the voters. But the fact is, county officials are very familiar with the save the dog technique, where instead of dealing with the real needs of the roads and the bridges, they give money to the library and the dog petting programs and everything so that they can keep hammering us with the need for more taxes. We just voted it down and we're being hammered with it again. And I think that although I appreciate the expertise which our commission is going to squeeze more blood out of us, I would like to see honesty in this special local option sales tax, that the local people keep the money they raise. That's all.
My question is pertaining to Splosh. The city of Valdosta came in and put all these nice new traffic lights through Ashley Street.
The state did it.
The city or the county, or the state. The
Department of
state did
Transportation.
that. The state did that. But they didn't do anything with handicap accessible wall sidewalks. No, they have not. The sidewalks are dilapidated. They're not cut. They done at the light, but the whole city, Ashley Street, needs to be addressed. And I'm gonna address that at the council meeting next council meeting. But Ashley Street, they spent all this money on these lights. They did nothing to the sidewalks going up and down Ashley Street.
And I'm gonna be honest, I can't speak to that mainly because I know we didn't have anything to do with it, but I can tell you that a portion, the T-Splash can be spent on sidewalks, bike lanes, roads, bridges, you name it,
One more question, is FEMA a state road or a county?
state road.
Okay. See, that's money, it's strange how that whole road on Ashley, FEMA, from perimeter all the way almost to the base is sidewalks. Those sidewalks could have been used somewhere else in this city versus out there in the middle of pastures. You don't make no sense. You got the high school over here. That Park Avenue, it's a Park Avenue? There's a sidewalk out there going to nowhere.
It's going to the school.
No,
Yes, it is. It's going to the middle school.
No, you look on the other side of the road.
They only do
It
one
crosses
side.
at the school.
It doesn't.
That,
I go every
Who
morning.
told you now?
who does that?
Let me
If
tell
you go in
y'all.
the morning, there's kids walking. Yes.
And let me just tell you, they only, right now with the city, what they're doing, we can only put sidewalks on one side of the street right now. They put it on the east side to make sure this is on one side of the street. And let me just tell you about the handicaps on Ashley Street. And I tell you this because I personally got my bicycle and I love it. Yes, they are. And it is a law for the handicap. There is no, you have to start doing it. And on Ashley Street, yes, they have. The city has gone, and if you will look at a lot of those ones, and two of them I can tell you for sure, is over by the auto place. They have done it. They have done some more. And I rode my bicycle. I did talk to our city engineer, and they have fixed it. It is also a law, handicap law, that you have to make those streets.
Then you go over to William Street, it has the hugest sidewalk.
That was done well before that was. That was done well before I got there, talking about.
Let's try to recognize people.
This may not be the explanation for these specific circumstances, but my understanding is, anytime that there's a transportation plan made and it states that this area needs to have sidewalks, when there's an improvement in that area, then they're kind of, their hand is twisted, they gotta put the sidewalk in. Same thing with bike lanes and stuff like that. So if there's some areas that seem like they have sidewalks, you don't need it as much as others that desperately do, part of that could be just because the fact that those areas that have not had improvements where plans in place specify that we need to have sidewalks or bike lanes. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got to pay attention to what we put in our plans and look at all that. And that could be part of the reason why, but I'm not
I know they're going to
speculating.
be widening Forest Street, but if you ever ride down Forest Street, it's a dirt trail. It's not a sidewalk, it's a dirt trail. And that's a state road, I believe.
I just forgot to tell you all about the discretionary funds too, which is a portion of the T-Splash that we receive. Each county and municipality have at their discretion outside of the list that you see on the websites. This is where any of the, say, big projects like, I want to say Paul Burris Funeral Home or cemetery, little small roads and stuff like that need to be done, we can get done with those funds. But long story short, 200 million is better than nothing, okay? Right now, our budget is like beyond tight. So I hear a lot of people that say, hey, well, we're going to be a donor county, or we're going to only get this %. Well, what do we have now? I just put it out there. If we don't get what we need in the future, you're probably going to see your property taxes increase. Just being honest with you. This is the
That's
way.
a threat that you really cannot hold up.
This is not a threat. This is telling you that we
Well,
need
no,
it.
I take that as a threat. You're threatening me that my taxes will go up if I don't do what you say do. I'm sorry, that does not sit well with me.
I don't think you did it as a threat.
Well, that's the way it came
Well,
across.
I didn't put it out as a threat, but I'm just being honest with you.
The funds are needed, to be able to find them somewhere.
We got to get the money from somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the mayor told us the same thing that
You're
you
not gonna
said
get it
last
from
week.
my tax.
Well,
Same
we need
thing.
safe roads for our kids.
Okay, let's try to keep in order.
This plan shows,
He's attacking everybody.
No,
This-
the mayor
this-
told us.
this plan, $200,000 coming to Lowndes County, correct? On this, what, with the county commission, if it did not pass, what ballpark, what do y'all have to spend?
Here's what we're told, here's what I've been told. I've been told that, hey, maybe we should look at a single county tax, T-Splash, right? Well, we looked at that, but with the single county tax, T-Splash, you only get a 30% match, okay, not the 10%. So you go from the 10% match to 30%, almost about what we got right now. The other side of it is, it's here, but the one benefit is you can have broader language, meaning that you don't have to list the specific roads. Now, the only challenge with it is, that's kind of what gotten us in some of the situations we've gotten in, because it ain't specifically listed. You got the broad language that, hey, to fix and repair roads and so forth. No, instead of that straight out saying, we're going to do Forest Street. Instead of straight up saying we're going to do that bridge on St. Augustine. That's what's got us in some of the predicament that we're in. So the more specific we can get on any of those splash, the better off we are. So one option is the one county T-Splash. The other option is to do nothing. And if I'm not mistaken, I told everyone, I want to say a while back, we got the numbers that said, what? The city of Valdosta created or had roughly 138 new constructions in the city of Valdosta. And the unincorporated part of Lowndes County, we had over 1,400. Okay, over 1,400 new constructions. So that should tell you something. Drive around in the county, see all the building and all the expansion that's taking place, all the growth. What do you do when you got this kind of growth taking place?
Start limiting that type of growth because it's very expensive and letting everybody know what that's going to cost up front when we have to then have the roads and the improvements and the millions of dollars expenses on the roads to access those places that have been developed.
Okay, let's wrap up the discussion on T-Splosh. I want to split this in two. First is the question, should the Lowndes County Democratic Party take a position on T-Splosh to make a recommendation to the candidates? And if so, what should that recommendation be? So, if someone would make a motion asking that,
I believe,
yeah, sure.
I believe that we don't need to take a position on that issue because I think it's already brought up bad feelings, and I don't know about y'all, but I think that we don't need to go there.
I second it. Okay, that was a motion not to take a position, is what I heard, right?
I think the other thing we need to remember is this is the only time we get to vote on this.
Right.
We will not be voting on this in the fall or any future time. This is now or not.
Right, it's on the May 22nd
It's
ballot.
on this ballot, but some of the other things we're voting on will also be in fall ballot. This will not go forward. This is yes or no now for these 34 counties.
I'm from Vegas, I'll bet $100 it'll be on the ballot again
Yeah.
in 10 years and again.
Well, in 10 years, maybe, but not in the fall.
Well, it's been
Okay,
on
we
the ballot
have
this year.
we have a motion on the floor. The motion is that as a body, we not take a position on T-Splosh. That's been seconded. Further discussion on that motion as to whether or not we take a position. Okay, hearing none, let me call for the vote. Okay, all in favor of not taking a position, please raise your hand. Okay, please put your hands down. All in favor of taking a position, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion is carried 15-6. So we will not, as a body, take a position. Each of you, of course, can go out and persuade your friends and neighbors of, whatever persuasion you want. Okay, while we're on things that need to be decided, one additional thing that we need to decide. We heard Representative Sharp's offer of this meeting space on a monthly basis, beginning the first Monday of each month. That includes the question as to whether we should hold the barbecue here the first Monday of July. And so we need to make a decision as to whether the barbecue will be held here or at Mathis Auditorium, which is where we've held it previously in the past.
I think this room is too small.
If you need the capacity, we can check the space next door. I mean, it's larger, but it just depends on what, other things you need. We're used to having a big stage there.
Right.
But the place next door is larger than this one. So if y'all want to look at it, it'll be
What's the
fine.
fire marshal capacity next door?
98.
No, too small.
Too small?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
You had over 98 last time at my
We're in the church.
I didn't see over 98 last time at Memphis.
okay. Okay. So I take it that the sense of the body is we should hold a barbecue as we have in Mathis Auditorium.
Yes.
Okay. We need to get the tickets printed up and out.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the barbecue being held at Mathis, did we bring any money home from that?
Yes, we always do.
We net a bit.
We met, how much, a bit is like, well, how much?
Last year was $500.
Is it open to us how much they charge at Mathis?
That's 500 just the rental on Mathis, I think.
360.
360.
So we cleared 1,000.
No. The clear it is after
I
we
mean, we
pay,
collected
after we
1,000,
pay, after we pay for the rent and the meals and so on and so forth. Last year we cleared
Pretty good.
500. Okay? After paying for everything. Yes, Stan.
I'd just like to make a comment. It doesn't seem to be an ideal place because it's cavernous and we really don't fill it up to a point where you really feel like you've got a good crowd of people there. It seems as though we should try to find a place that is of appropriate size to have it, so it's it gives you a feeling of having a good crowd instead of being somewhere where it seems thin and I think we can do better if we thought about it. Maybe we should, well. I don't
Okay,
know.
we're running short of time. I mean, we should have had the tickets printed up and ready for this meeting to be distributed. Yes.
Well, I'll be brief on it, and, I mean, he's making a point to it, but, you know, we have a lot of different event spaces in Valdosta, but for the price, for one, math is gonna be cheaper if you're talking about, you know what I mean? There's a lot of expensive places, and I'm actually working on one more place, maybe ready by next year, in the same lot, just at the very end, that would be like 150 to 200 people maybe, and that could honestly be a good option for us, and I could donate it to you. But, you know, like I said, we just gotta think real hard and see how many people we think we're really gonna have at this particular barbecue. But like I say, y'all are welcome to look on that side and see what will work, because it'll be one that's donated. And if we're spending out $360 or $400, well, yeah, if we're spending $360 or $400, I don't know if we have to pay for the officer, if we have a fire person and a police
We
there.
also pay for an officer.
Okay, so you could just see if that would work, and then, you know, go from there, you know.
Okay, I think we can look at that for next year, but I
Okay.
think for this year.
Okay.
Why don't we take a vote though, because it seems to me that we have a really split opinion.
How
Call the
many,
question.
how many did we have last year? How many people?
How many people showed up?
I don't know. the
Just at
answer.
100.
Okay, so why not have the barbecue outside and the meeting inside?
Outside work.
Like in the.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you, I mean, this is just an option.
Just walk over.
I gotta have air.
If you eat, okay, if we
One
put,
room
if we,
barbecue, one
okay,
room meeting.
in order to have what you need to have, and it probably would be bad, I mean, we all country people in a sense, but if we put the food in here, all right, if we try to get space situated, we can set up for the meeting on that side somehow, but y'all just work with me and just figure out how we can do this. We have both of these buildings. If we have to do the food on one side and kind of do something else, you know what I mean? At least you'll get rid of that space that's gonna have it up the serving line. Even if you have to put the tape, some round table, we could do long tables, a round table. Some of you decorated people know how to set tables up where it works out and do most of your meeting over there and have the actual food here, and just, that'll hold up some, because I think they have a lot of tables for the food. We can eliminate that space and have your meeting over there, and you can actually have a food line here, but you can also take the food next door, get your plate and walk next door and do it that way.
I have a question.
I don't know. And
How
that's
many of
free.
the people who didn't like meeting at Mama June's are actually here?
I don't like Mama June.
I don't either.
I don't like Mama Jane's because it's
Okay,
too
well,
crowded.
that's more than I thought. Why I ask this is, those of you who want to hold it here, how many of you will actively show up and make it happen?
I think that's two different things. You're talking about meeting and barbecue, right?
Yeah, let's,
I am now asking about the barbecue.
Let's
Those
just go
of
to
you
the
who want
Mathis
to hold it
Auditorium and
here,
finish
how many of you will actively show up and make it happen?
You talking about here, or what are you talking about?
You start the setup,
Here,
the setup.
here, this place.
Don't holler at me.
let me ask, let's just do a straw poll. Mathis Auditorium for the
I think you
barbecue,
should go to
or
Mathis and be
these
finished.
2 rooms for the barbecue. Those are the 2 that we've, active options that we have, okay?
Right now, since we got such a short time.
Right, those are the only 2 options we have.
You want a motion?
No, I want a show of hands, because I want to get a sense of the body. How many think that Mathis is the better venue? Okay, how many think this is the better venue?
Of the 2 rooms.
8. Okay, so about two-thirds favoring Mathis Auditorium. Okay?
Yeah, we can plan better for it next time.
We can plan better for it next year, but this year, okay, when the rubber hits the road, we're gonna go with Mathis,
Then we need to sell the tickets.
and we need to get the tickets into the hands of the committee members, and they need to sell the tickets.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's already set up on the website, so you can get your tickets by going to the website. So please start selling tickets and encouraging people to sign up. Stan?
I think we need to get more younger people in this group. okay? And I think that,
So we gotta
I think
print our
we should
tickets off?
consider selling tickets to the
gotta
VSU
print our tickets
Democrats
off?
at cost.
So you can buy
Because
them
we don't need
online.
to try to make money off
We
of
got
it. We
to
need
put
to
it.
get more
They're
young people
available
to
for
come in
sale.
the door and
My
get
people,
involved.
I deal with people more than saying,
I know, me too.
that's too much work. But everybody don't do that.
No, Vivian, somebody needs to print the tickets.
I don't have a
It
printer.
goes up and down.
Dennis, who's gonna print the tickets?
Okay, Jim, you got the forms?
Yeah.
You got the forms,
I
okay?
thought there was a guy that was gonna do it.
I asked you, Jim, to make sure it happens. You said
Okay.
you would.
Okay, okay, we need somebody who's got a color printer to run off the tickets. Who's got a color
Have we
printer?
gotten the template yet?
Yes,
Who has it?
Gretchen
It's,
prepared
no,
the
it's
template.
on the
It's on the.
Google Drive. It's
Okay,
shared
Jim's-
with
Jim's
all
got the
of the
tickets.
committee members.
We need somebody with a color printer.
Anybody?
Somebody with a color printer,
Somebody.
The quality printer?
okay? Somebody's gotta have a color printer in this group.
How many copies do we need? Coloring is expensive.
Thank you.
How many we need? I could probably get, how many we need? Because I could probably get one of the print, people that own a print shop.
Okay, we usually run off about 120, is it, Gretchen? What do we run off this list?
We
10
have,
per
what we
page,
said,
12 pages.
Dennis, at the last meeting, when we had a committee meeting, we said all of the committee members, 23 of us, would each sell 10. So that's
That's
230 tickets.
Okay, okay, so that's 23 pages.
No, they're 8 to a page.
8 to a page, okay? That's 30 pages. Okay,
All right.
okay,
If
next.
you follow up with me in the morning, then I will ask him what he'd be willing to do, for us.
He just had a volunteer here said he would do them. I guess his company.
Wait,
You looked over here.
Oh, I asked how much the color ink costs.
Oh.
And then there's a certain type of paper, you're using a certain weight paper to do
Yes.
this.
Dexter, they have the card stock already. Jim bought it.
Jim's got the card.
Okay, you got the card stock? Okay, I'll ask him what he'll do for us in the morning.
The card stock is at the office,
Okay,
on top of the file cabinet.
all right.
When do you need that? I can get that to you.
A minute.
As soon as possible.
Yeah,
You didn't even give me the name. She said she didn't get what she said she had.
because he's only,
She always said she gonna get it. I
Let's
never
move
got
along,
anything.
where members to be heard.
he didn't charge that much per copy.
Yes, Lee. Dr. Allen.
I appreciated the information about fingerprinting and stuff that's going through the bill.
I got it on
And
the account.
the legislation, that's good. But I also see stuff that they're starting to collect information on DNA from genealogical sites. And I think we should possibly look at that as another area where we need protection from government data acquisition.
Okay,
One more quick thing. Whoever has the card stock,
Jim.
okay, what I want you to do, over here at Valdosta Printing, the guy named Trent, okay? His name is Trent. That way we can cut the middleman out of going to here and getting this and going and get that. Just go to Trent and say Dexter Sharper told me to come by here, and if you can do me 30 copies of that, or whatever, you know how many you needed, 30 copies, and he's gonna take care of it. Okay?
Thank you.
And that means they'll get done.
Thank you.
If I have to work for him, for a few hours, I'll do whatever I gotta do.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Lee.
We decide we're gonna meet here for the meetings, our regular meetings like this, that's decided, right? No, okay, good.
It is quieter.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's a lot better.
It's a lot good. It's-
We just turn the chairs like this way and let it get in the middle.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
can't see.
And the other one
You change
is,
it seated
they're getting
this
ready
way
to print up
on
the
each side.
tickets. When will we be able to get the tickets for?
Thank you.
To give out? I mean, because I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm on the committee, but I always get tickets and I will get about 15 to sell.
As soon as Jim and Dexter get them done, we'll send out an email to the committee and get them
How
out.
much are
Tickets are 25?
25.
25.
And how much for students?
25.
25. Can we make it?
12 and a half for under 12.
I mean,
like college students.
College students.
25. We were hoping
Give
that.
them a 15%.
Well, wait a minute, I can get
What would that be?
Those
Those
are
are math. We can get college students, I'll get a company who will donate 15 tickets for college students. Can we get, if anybody can get 15 college students who will come and commit to being part of the committee, we would donate 15
You're talking about
college
July,
students.
those kids not even here.
So, we want them to be
Those
part of
kids
the
not even here in
Democratic
July. Miss Julie, the kids are not even here in July, baby. The college kids are gone in July.
I mean, it's a year round.
Yeah, they'll be happy. Okay, we'll be with John about that. He's the head of that. Hey, let's quiet down so we can hear each other.
Tyler's term is up, they have a new president now, I don't know who it is.
You might
still have some. I teach a gal who is active in that, and I could ask her.
Okay, please, let us know. Thank you. Okay, any other issues from members to be heard?
I don't know if you all paid attention to the paper, but we did have an announcement regarding metal vendors, what have you, that opened up in Hayhire. That's jobs, approximately, it's going to be a total of 50 coming soon. We got other stuff coming in the future you'll be hearing about.
That was on Facebook.
As well as there was a groundbreaking ceremony for the Miracle Field. I want to appreciate all the community for giving towards that. That was on the SPLOST referendum, for those who don't know, a portion of that funding. So thank you all for those who came out. For those who didn't, you missed a treat. It's just something to see. I put it like that. But we officially broke ground for that. We will be voting on the soccer complex that will be opening up in Hayhire. It's going to be 3 Olympic-sized soccer complexes, and the truth be told, we're expecting a lot of economic impact to derive from it. It's our understanding that people not only use soccer fields for soccer, but they also do lacrosse. So all of this is possibly coming in the north and middle part of Clarence County. So just be on the lookout for it. A lot of opportunities for development and so forth. Okay?
Yes.
This is really kind of related to the issue we talked about opioids earlier, which are contributing to foster care. I don't know if a lot of people saw the little announcement in the paper. Valdosta Police have put a box in the front of their office where you can take any extra pills you don't need and dump them anytime. They had an overflow capacity the first day. Wow. This is where a lot of kids end up getting pills they don't need. They get it out of somebody's medicine cabinet. You get 50 pills because your arm is broken, and you take 20 and you're fine. You move on. Those pills are still sitting there. So it used to be they did this every couple of years. Now, anytime you can walk in and put it in that green box and get rid of any kind of pills you've got and get them, out of the hands of anybody who might not need to have them.
Thank you. Any other members to be heard? Okay, then quickly wrapping up on upcoming events. Next regular meeting, first Monday of June 4th, will be here. Primary voting this week is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next week is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on the 22nd, 7 to 7 in precincts. Before I close, we've had another elected official who came in after we recognized elected officials. So, Ms. Vivian Millicody, appreciate what you're doing on the city council. Thank you.
The only thing I have to say, and you shouldn't open the door, is that with the county commissioners, all the projects they're doing going north, don't forget about the children on the south side of town, because they can't get to Hayhire to play soccer, and a lot of them can't get to the Miracle Field, which is great, but you got to always think of the lower children on the other side that need help also. That's my flag for tonight.
Okay, and then get ready to sell barbecue tickets. This is our big fundraiser for the year. We really need the money because we're being more active. We need the money for the rent for the office. We need the money for the slate cards that are going to be coming out in the fall. This election makes a real difference. Please go out and vote. Urge your friends to vote, and let's gear up for the big barbecue.
Are there any other other candidate gatherings planned that you know of, or is that farther into the
Not
summer?
that I have heard. We had one last month, the chamber had one last Tuesday. Have you been invited to any?
No, I haven't, and the chamber said they weren't having one in the fall, and this was gonna be
Yeah,
it.
okay, okay.
Is AAUW having one in the fall?
Usually does one in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.